Tony Grossi of the Daily Grossi, him and Big Chops was on their podcast today, and they had some choice words to say about what Shedeur said when he was interviewed by his locker on his comments about him being ready. He wants to play now, and then talking about the quarterback play.
Begrudge any player saying what's on his mind, and he didn't approach them. Justin approached him, but you got to be mindful of what you say. And I think the one quote that from what I see around the league, I could do better.
Do you think it was directed as his teammates or no? And
I don't think that.
Malice? No,
but,
malice.
But it could come just like when Dylan Gabriel said, "I'm a competitor, not an entertainer." Everyone assumed he was talking about Shedeur.
Yeah.
The same thing you could assume.
Yes.
Tony Grossi really thought he dropped the take of the year, but the moment Shedeur Sanders stepped in, that so-called hot take turned into a full-on disaster, a live TV meltdown that burned hotter than a busted power line in a thunderstorm. 1 second, Grossi's out here strutting like he's about to get crowned the new king of sports talk, and the next, boom, his confidence vanished so fast it looked like he was trying to hit undo on real life. This wasn't just a clapback, this was a demolition job, a verbal wrecking ball straight through his pride, leaving the studio in smoke and silence. You could almost see the panic in his eyes, like he realized mid-sentence he'd walked into his own ambush. Grossi marched in swinging, acting like his words were TNT ready to blow up Shedeur's image. But when the smoke cleared, everyone saw the truth. His cannon was stuffed with toy darts. The man fired blanks on national TV while talking like it was still the flip phone era. To you, no, don't get it twisted. There wasn't a single shred of positivity in that moment. Just standing next to Shedeur's aura of unshakable confidence made Grossi's whole argument collapse like a busted folding chair in a hurricane. It disintegrated faster than an ice cream cone in an Arizona parking lot at noon. And the wildest part, Shedeur didn't even have to flex. He just sat there, cool as a glacier, and the entire take crumbled into dust before anyone could blink. And let's keep it real, the setup was almost cruel. The Browns' offense was so stale you could use it as a museum exhibit. Poor Joe Flacco, bless his fossilized arm, was out there tossing the ball like it was about to explode. Every snap looked like he was trying to get rid of a live grenade before it went off. And the receivers, man, Cleveland's wideouts were running routes like they were prepping for a track meet nobody showed up to watch. Right in the middle of that chaos sat Shedeur Sanders, rookie, third stringer, just chilling and minding his business like he's invisible. Then ESPN Cleveland slides in with the most basic question ever. Do you feel ready to play? 4 little syllables? That's it. Now picture this, you're a rookie quarterback in the NFL. Lights in your face, microphones jammed under your chin, the city staring at you like you're their last hope. I'm ready. That's not arrogance. That's straight up survival in the NFL jungle. Without that kind of confidence, you don't even get a whiff of the practice squad. It's the mindset that keeps a rookie's dream alive when the world's waiting to see him fail. But Tony Grossi, man, he took those 4 harmless words and turned them into a full-blown scandal. Suddenly, in his twisted narrative, Shedeur wasn't a focused rookie. He was some spotlight-chasing diva who can't function unless he's trending online. Like, bro, what? Grossi heard "I'm ready" and acted like Shedeur just dropped an exclusive confession on TMZ. And this is where it gets hilarious. His logic made 0 sense. He's yelling, "This guy's QB3. The Browns are a mess." And somehow it's Shedeur's fault for having confidence? That's like blaming the substitute teacher because the whole school flunked math. The stretch was insane, but Grossi didn't stop there.
He was reps in camp and he's got a sore arm. Why? Well, people say he throws a lot before practice and after practice. Well, how counterproductive is that?
I'm sure there's a method to the madness.
What is it?
He's trying to get his arm right, don't? I'm sure he's probably practiced more now than he has at any point in his
Well,
collegiate
obviously
career.
it was counterproductive because he's got a sore arm.
Okay, so you're using that as a negative against the kid?
I don't understand.
Jesus, God, would you give him a chance?
Well,
My God,
here's the
because his
thing.
arm's sore?
Yeah.
What, that's a negative, that the kid's got a sore arm?
Yes.
Because he's working too hard?
Oh no, he doubled down. He started ranting like Shedeur was addicted to cameras, like he wakes up every morning begging for retweets just to breathe. He painted him as a viral junkie instead of a hardworking rookie just trying to earn a shot. It was delusional theater on live radio, and every listener could feel it. The man wasn't analyzing anymore. He was spiraling. Grossi went full drama mode, painting Shedeur Sanders like some spotlight addict, shaking in withdrawal just because his highlight reel hadn't gone viral that week. But 3 minutes into his own rant, karma hit fast. The man tripped over his own words and accidentally told the truth. He admitted ESPN Cleveland came to Shedeur. They shoved the mic in his face, rolled the cameras, and ran with the clip. Translation, Shedeur wasn't chasing attention. The attention crashed onto him like a giant stage light falling from the rafters. That's strike one, and it was nasty. The moment Grossi said it, his whole fame-hungry argument exploded on impact. The guy basically proved Shedeur was the hunted, not the hunter. It's like accusing someone of robbing a bank while they're sitting at home in sweatpants halfway through a Netflix binge. The logic didn't just fall apart, it evaporated. And then, without even realizing it, Grossi set himself up for strike two. In his attempt to bury Shedeur deeper, he blurts out that the Browns' offense is struggling to score. No kidding, Tony. That's not breaking news. That's a weekly headline in Cleveland, saying that's like walking into a press conference and announcing water is wet, grass is green. Everyone in Cleveland's been suffering through this offense, sputtering and choking like an old car running on expired gas. Joe Flacco, man, bless his veteran bones, but every time he threw a 5-yard pass, it looked like he was aiming straight for the cheerleaders. Each throw was an adventure, and most of them ended in disappointment. The Browns' run game completely flatlined. It stalled so hard you'd think they were being sponsored by a bus company with every vehicle stuck in neutral. And right in the center of that chaos, here comes Tony Grossi, trying to torch Shedeur, when all he really did was prove exactly why Sanders was justified in saying, "I'm ready." Grossi basically yanked the lever on his own trapdoor. He wanted to make Shedeur look delusional, but instead, he handed the rookie a perfect alibi on a silver platter. The irony was brutal. Then came strike three, and it was ugly. Grossi tried to pull off the classic sports talk shuffle, bash the player for being confident, then double back and admit that confidence is exactly what every quarterback needs to survive in the league. The contradiction was painful to watch. He ranted that Shedeur's ego was out of control, acting like "I'm ready" was some arrogant flex. But then, oops, he slipped up and confessed that every great quarterback has to have that same fire. Quarterbacks should feel like they're ready, right? That's part of the position. Excuse me, what? That's like lecturing someone about how cake ruins your diet while you're literally licking frosting off the fork in front of them. Pick a lane, Tony. You can't call confidence a sin and then preach that every quarterback should have it in the same breath. Then Grossi went full detective mode, dragging the Rams' preseason game into the mix like it was the Zapruder film. He kept circling back to it, acting like one exhibition game determined Shedeur's entire NFL future. His big piece of evidence? Sanders took a couple of sacks. That's it. That was his smoking gun. But here's what Tony conveniently left out. Shedeur didn't throw a single interception. 0 turnovers. Nada. For a rookie in his first live reps, that's not a warning sign. That's a green light. He stayed poised, protected the football, and didn't panic under pressure.
Shedeur Sanders found Tony Grossi, the one that y'all look at my last video. I talked about him having an agenda of constantly saying bad things about Shedeur. Shedeur found him after the game and addressed him. I think we all can take a page out of Shedeur's book about somebody who constantly has something negative to say about you, and you don't necessarily know how to approach it. And Shedeur calmly went over to him and said that, "Man, I hope you finally got something positive to say after tonight, because you're always saying something negative about me, and I don't know what I did."
That's what you want from a quarterback learning the ropes. And while Grossi was busy clowning Shedeur for taking sacks behind a shaky backup O-line, another young QB, Dillon Gabriel, was out there tossing picks and coughing up fumbles like giveaways. But guess who got the heat? Not the guy turning the ball over. Nope, it was the rookie who actually kept the ball safe. Handing the defense free possessions, make it make sense. Every NFL coach will tell you the same thing. Turnovers are the ultimate sin. You can eat a few sacks, you can live with missed throws, but start giving that ball away and you're done. That's rule number 1 in Stefanski's playbook. Don't gift wrap the football for the other team, ever. And yet, Tony Grossi completely ignored that. He was too busy replaying those sacks like a highlight reel of doom, acting as if each one was a national crisis. It's like clowning a chef for burning a single piece of toast while ignoring the guy in the next kitchen who just burned the whole restaurant down. Come on, Tony, priorities. But of course, the contradictions didn't stop there. Grossi went right back to his favorite dance routine, the confidence flip-flop. 1 minute, he's preaching that quarterbacks need confidence to lead. The next, he's bashing Shedeur for having exactly that. You can't have it both ways, my guy. By the end of his rant, Grossi was so tangled up in his own contradictions, you could have parked him in the middle of a mall food court and called him part of the pretzel stand. This wasn't analysis, it was self-destruction in real time. And here's the wildest part. While Tony's foaming at the mouth, ranting that Shedeur should sit down and stop hogging attention, the rookie wasn't even trying to steal the spotlight. While Tony Grossi was melting down on air, the actual head coach, Kevin Stefanski, was cool as ice. calmly telling reporters the truth. Every player is working hard, and yeah, they all feel ready. That's not drama, that's just the reality of a competitive locker room. Stefanski basically gave a shrug that said it all. Of course he feels ready. That's what quarterbacks do. No panic, no pearl clutching, no lectures about humility. Just a coach keeping it real and moving on. And if the head coach himself isn't losing sleep over Shedeur showing confidence, why in the world is Tony Grossi acting like the building's on fire? By this point, it's obvious. Grossi's outrage had nothing to do with football. It felt personal, like he was mad that a young player dared to speak with confidence in front of a microphone he didn't control. And the irony? It's chef's kiss perfect. Grossi strutted into that studio thinking he was about to drop pure gospel truth, only for everyone to realize he was preaching straight out of the dusty book of outdated takes. Meanwhile, defensive linemen across the league could testify, Shedeur's pocket movement has them spinning like carnival teacup rides, dizzy and lost, while he slices defenses apart with surgical precision. Shedeur isn't just earning respect anymore, he's billing for it. He's sending out invoices, tacking on late fees, and charging interest to every critic's account. And Tony, he's the guy who forgot to pay his own tab. Welcome to the so-called holy halls of quarterback respectability, where Tony Grossi tried to play mall cop, guarding the gates like his plastic badge meant something. Picture it, a cranky security guard in a wrinkled jacket, puffing his chest out like he's protecting national secrets, when in reality, he's just blocking the food court. But the moment Shedeur lit him up, that fake badge cracked in half, and the gate he was guarding swung wide open. Shedeur didn't just walk through, he strolled in, calm, confident, like he owned the whole building. And instead of clapping back with real facts, Grossi started leaning on every dusty cliche in the book. He threw out tired one-liners about proving it on the big stage, as if Shedeur hadn't already shredded some of the league's toughest defenses and turned them into viral highlight reels. Tony tried to position himself as the wise old sage of football talk, the veteran voice of reason, passing down gridiron wisdom like ancient scripture. But instead, he came off like that guy at the bar yelling, "They don't make quarterbacks like they used to," while not even knowing what a zone read actually is. It was comedy disguised as commentary. And that's the real story here. Some people just don't know when to hang up their old playbook. One side stuck in grainy black and white reruns, the other shining in crystal clear 4K Ultra HD. And you already know which one the crowd's watching on repeat. The contrast was wild. Tony Grossi really thought the fans would ride with him, expecting the old school crowd to rise up in applause, chanting, "Back in my day," like a football choir still bitter that the forward pass ever got invented. But reality hit hard. The fans torched him. They roasted Tony like marshmallows over a summer bonfire, and the clips spread faster than gossip at a tailgate. Memes exploded everywhere. Replays went viral. And just like that, Grossi's credibility took a nosedive straight into meme status. The internet crowned a new king that day, and his name was Shedeur Sanders. And here's the best part. Shedeur didn't even have to flex. No dramatic mic drop, no Hollywood theatrics, just calm, clean logic paired with cold, hard results. That alone buried Tony's entire act. It was like Shedeur quietly held up a scoreboard for the whole world to see, saying, "Check the wins, check the stats, check the film, game over." Meanwhile, Grossi was left fumbling through excuses like a quarterback trying to pick up a drop snap in the rain, praying nobody noticed that his entire argument had just been blown to pieces. Spoiler alert, everybody noticed. The collapse wasn't subtle. It was a full-blown highlight moment of its own. The funniest twist? Grossi genuinely believed he was standing on solid ground, like his take was carved out of granite. But the second Shedeur pressed back, that so-called foundation crumbled like a sandcastle, smashed by high tide. Tony Grossi wasn't defending football logic, he was defending his pride and ego. And egos don't survive when cold, hard facts crash over them like a tidal wave. The funniest part? How fast the story flipped. 1 minute, Grossi was strutting like the self-appointed guardian of football truth, puffing his chest out like he ran the rule book. The next, he looked like a man caught live on camera, trying to rewrite his own opinion mid-sentence. Pure chaos in real time. Watching him backpedal was comedy gold. It was like watching a toddler try to moonwalk. Awkward, clumsy, and absolutely hilarious for all the wrong reasons.
The way that Shedeur Sanders handled this interaction with Tony Grossi. If you don't know who Tony Grossi is, he's a Browns reporter who has been around for a really long time and has been highly critical of the team and its players, which sometimes is justified, sometimes is a little over the top. He's really known for getting into it with Baker Mayfield over the years and had some not nice things to say about his height in particular. He's obviously been highly critical of Shedeur as well since he got to Cleveland, and Shedeur handled this with class and in a really lighthearted manner. Like, I really respect that he kind of said it to his face and was like, "Yeah, you say negative stuff about me. Like, what do you have to say about that? But he also like laughed it off and was patting his back. So he wasn't taking it too seriously. Like, he came at it from a really...
He didn't just stumble, he tripped over his own words and face planted straight into the mud. The man was scrambling and everyone could see it. Meanwhile, Shedeur stood there calm and collected, looking like the kid in class who actually studied while everyone else was guessing on the test. Every question Grossi threw his way got flipped right back at him with precision. You could almost feel the audience tuning Tony out in real time, realizing they were watching a slow-motion meltdown instead of a debate. This wasn't a polite little disagreement. This was a demolition derby, a verbal car crash where one side came armed with facts and the other showed up with feelings. With just a few clean, surgical points, Shedeur turned Grossi's so-called masterpiece argument into something that looked like a kid's crayon drawing taped to the fridge. And that's when the regret hit, hard. Losing an argument is one thing, but realizing you were outmatched before it even started, that's humiliation on another level. By the time the dust settled, Tony Grossi wasn't the sharp analyst he believed himself to be. He was the punchline. The man strutted into that studio thinking he'd bury Shedeur Sanders, but instead, he handed the rookie a shovel. And Shedeur didn't just dig him a hole, he buried the whole segment with a smile. Every so-called critique Tony Grossi fired off turned into free promotion for Shedeur Sanders. Every rant became another meme factory masterpiece, another viral win for the rookie. Grossi strutted into the studio looking like the judge ready to hand down a verdict, but he walked out looking like the clown in his own courtroom. And here's the part nobody can ignore. Shedeur didn't need a flashy speech, didn't need to clap back with some dramatic mic drop or viral one-liner. His calm confidence, backed by pure stats and cold, hard film, did all the talking for him. That's real power, letting results speak louder than words. Meanwhile, Grossi was tripping over his own contradictions, trying to convince the world that confidence is a problem, right after admitting quarterbacks need confidence to even survive in the league. That's not expert analysis. That's live on air.
One of the more polarizing players in all of the NFL, and he's a third stringer that y'all said shouldn't be talked about a lot. So where I want to start with this is, y'all know the quote, y'all know what Shedeur said. He said, "I'm ready right now." Jimmy Horn Jr. trademark, you know how that gets down. And he said, "Look, of course I feel like I'm ready to play. I'm ready to get down." So what did Kevin Stefanski, the head coach, I'm sure he was so upset at Shedeur.
They clipped it, shared it, remixed it, and turned the whole fiasco into comedy gold. Before Tony even left the building, what he thought was a mic drop moment had transformed into a blooper reel. His name plastered across every social feed, from Reddit threads to ESPN highlight edits. Even rival analysts couldn't resist jumping in on the roast. And Shedeur, he walked out untouched. Not a scratch on his image, no mud on his jersey, no stumbles on his record. Just a composed rookie who dared to say he was ready and accidentally exposed how fragile some of these so-called experts really are. Grossi wanted to test him, but that test flipped back fast. And by the end, everyone knew who passed and who got schooled. In the end, Shedeur Sanders didn't just win the moment, he owned the entire storyline. Tony Grossi is now stamped in NFL talk history as the guy who turned his own hot take into cold ashes before the segment even ended. And let's not skip past the pettiness because it was top tier. Grossi wasn't just wrong, and he was loud and wrong. He puffed his chest out, raised his voice, leaned deep into that take like it was bulletproof, and got flattened so badly that everyone watching felt that secondhand embarrassment hit like a wave. It was the kind of disaster you can't look away from. Like someone stepping up for karaoke, hyped and confident, only to butcher every note while the crowd slowly turns their heads in pain. That's Grossi in a nutshell. A man who didn't just miss the target, he fired the arrow backwards. He thought he had the authority, but Shedeur came strapped with receipts. And in today's game, receipts beat rhetoric every single time. Now Tony's stuck wearing the badge of instant regret like a scarlet letter, replaying that L in his head while the internet keeps looping the clip forever. There's no PR spin that can erase it, no context that can save him. It's permanent, it's history, it's the kind of fumble you can't recover from. Shedeur didn't just win a debate, he flipped the script, stamped his name in sports culture, and turned Grossi's meltdown into a living cautionary tale. The student just schooled the self-proclaimed teacher, and the replay is here to stay. Forever viral, forever hilarious. So if you enjoyed watching Tony Grossi get roasted by his own contradictions, make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs a laugh. I'll catch you on the next one.